Hello and welcome to another How to Code Well web chat. My name is Peter Fisher. Today we're going to be talking about web development and search. Search is something that has changed dramatically in the past few years, and I believe it's going to change and evolve even further down the road. So we're going to be talking about some predictions that I can see coming along the lines. We're also going to do some pretty far-fetched blue sky thinking as well about what search can evolve into and how that will change how we develop websites. But before I do that, I just want to have a little disclaimer. I'm not a SEO expert. I'm not a growth hacker. I'm not down with any kind of inside knowledge of search and so forth. Let's take a step back first of all and look at how search has evolved to this point. Before, you were able to hack your websites in order to progress up the search rankings. So you could put things into your website that would trigger the bots, the crawlers, to push your website further up in the rankings by doing some sort of underhand, under the table kind of tricks. So, for instance, you could put in a lot of tags around your content, make them invisible, and maybe put them in a H1 tag, put them right at the top of the page. You can also see this with YouTube. Years ago, you were able to just put in all sorts of obscure tags in your video meta, and the crawlers would pick that up and then push them up to the top. So even if you weren't talking about in your video about a certain topic, you could put in trending tags in your video, and the web crawlers, the bots would find them and then put your video up in the rankings. Of course, you can't do that now at all because it's not about necessarily the code, what you've actually put into the code. It's actually about the content. So the better the content, the more, and the visibility of that. So you can't just do any underhand tricks to hide tags. So there's a lot of things that we could have done, or we did do previously, that we just can't do now. It's more about user experience these days rather than the marketing appeal. Okay, so rather than putting in fancy clickbaity sort of article tags and stuff like that, it's more about how the user experiences that website. So there's a lot of sort of metrics and factors now that websites have to acknowledge when they're putting out the content. So for instance, is it going to be viewable on mobile devices? How fast is it going to be on those mobile devices? How many images there are? How do those fit in? Are they responsive or not? So there's a lot of things now that web developers have to consider when developing websites that clients want to be higher up in the organic search rankings. Obviously, there's paid for, so there's organic SEO, and then there's paid for, where you promote your content by actually paying Google or paying another provider to push your content up higher. So that's like sponsored links. Facebook are doing this with boosted posts and so forth. So this trick of paying for adverts, paying for your spot in the marketing spot, that's nothing new, but more people are starting to do it. So you've even got Pinterest is starting to do it with their sponsored pins and other things like that. So that's kind of like a very quick background as to how search has evolved. Basically, it's gone from the raw HTML to listening on the content side, user experience, speed, having it accessible. All of those factors are now in place. Okay, so that's where we are, but where is it going to go? Personally, one area that I think it's going to go into is personalization. All right, so Now, this is kind of like the blue sky thinking part of this talk. It's kind of where it could go. It might not go down this route, but it could go. So Google knows where you've been. Google knows what sites you frequent more. So if you're asking a technical question like I do all the time on Google, as most developers do, and I frequent Stack Overflow far more than perhaps I frequent other websites, then Google will know and will perhaps push me towards content that is on websites that I frequent often. It could possibly be like a Facebook feed where you have personalized content based on what you've previously looked at. Now, there is all sorts of issues with that. I do appreciate that, and I'm skipping over them. But one thing could be the artificial intelligence that Google are now using to understand the behavior of the user. Oh, they've asked this technical question, so they're more than likely going to land on this technical article, right? So we'll find content there first, that kind of thing. The thing is, how many people ever go past the third page of Google, right? I hardly go past the first page of Google. If I do, I probably change my search parameters, change the actual keywords that I'm looking for. So who looks at the part where it says you're viewing 16 results out of 16 million? I mean, who's going to spend their time going through the 16 million to find out something that might be related? It's just not going to happen. Another area that search and the web development is using is rich meta. Okay, so this is kind of like widget-based type stuff. You see this now with calendars. So you see this with events and things like that. So where maybe there's a festival and it has an event, right? So you search Google for that festival and you get a widget, right? You get this widget, and this widget will display the event. It will display the time of the event, the location of the event, before even actually going into the website. Okay, so this is kind of rich tags, rich data tags. You also see this with metrics as well. So often I will search for conversion rates. So you get a widget conversion rate that you can actually manipulate and play with on the Google website from another website. It's just being sort of plugged in, if you will. Also, booking. If you're searching for hotels, you'll see a list of hotels maybe on the right hand side with prices. Let's take that one step further. Okay, let's take that one step further. Why not integrate payment with that? Why not have the ability to actually pay for items and goods on the Google website using an API that goes into the website that you would like to use? So, for example, I do not like how Amazon has laid out their shop. If I could buy a product from Amazon without going to Amazon, then I would, right? So if there was like an open standard, right, for payment, almost like we have an open source standard for authorization. So we have OAuth. Why can't we have something for payment where somewhere you log into, it realizes that your account has, I don't know, funds maybe, or it knows your previous orders or something like that. And you can purchase your goods off of the back of, say, Google or another service. So kind of like this centralized service that you can just pay for things. So you use Google as a way to search those products, and then you tap into one of those widgets to actually pay for your things. Now, obviously, I have totally skipped over all the privacy concerns, all of the other issues about monopoly. You're now only using Google for the one thing. But I was thinking about this morning. That is just the next iteration, right? So Google is providing widgets based on content that is on other people's websites. So you don't necessarily need to go into those websites to find that information out. It's my opinion that the next step is payment, right? The next step is payment. And you can imagine services like, I don't know, UK deals, or some sort of like cashback service that integrates with an open payment standard, right? And will give you offers based on that, because you've gone to their website, used their widgets to pay for things without actually having to go on the website itself to buy the product. I think that would work very well with e-commerce, but obviously I've skipped over all of the concerns and the standardization and stuff like that. The other area that I think SEO and search is falling into is having tailored specific search results for different devices. You see this with Facebook, because with Facebook, if you were to look at your feed on, say, an iPad, it's going to be very different from the feed that you have on your desktop, which is going to be very different from the feed on your mobile phone. So, and the reason why is because some of the content is not suited for those devices, right? So Facebook will be showing you more video things if they know that you view more videos on your mobile phone, less videos on your desktop. And also it's got tracking on those kind of things, so it can track the different behaviors. So you might be more inclined to read long Facebook posts on your desktop device or your iPad, and less inclined to do those on your mobile phone because of the size of the screen. So when considering all of those factors, you could see that in search as well. So perhaps there are certain search results that are preferred on different devices, which kind of goes in together with the personalization, when you're actually personalizing the results not only to the person but to the person's device. So I think there's going to be a lot of change. I don't really want to put a date timeline on it, but I can certainly see it improving in the next few years. I say improvement, some people might see this as a negative thing, but the thing is, Google and other search providers, and we have to remember that there are more than just Google. It's not just Google. They're changing and tweaking their algorithms all the time, and I think that they're starting to drill down into user behavior far more than the actual content itself. So they know what content is out there. Now they're starting to learn how the user uses, manipulates, progresses into that content. Maybe they're going to be more inclined to do certain things on different devices. Maybe they're going to be more inclined to do certain things at different times of the day, different countries, and so forth. So with all of those factors, you get a very personalized feed of search results. But, you know, I'm just completely blue skies thinking here. I'll be very interested to hear from you guys if you think that these things are possible and this is the way search is going. Then do like the video, do give a thumbs up, put your comments down if you've got any, and I will see you again in the next web chat. Thanks ever so much. Happy coding, everyone. Cheers. Bye.